Hi everyone, how you all doing? Today I'm wearing my rock t-shirt. This is the festival I've been involved with for the last 10 years. Do all the photography and videoing for them. Right, I'm going to talk about a great subject now. A subject in which right back in the 80s I had an example of. And the subject I'm going to talk about today is people who can't say sorry, even when they've been proven to be wrong. Now let's think about the character Fonzie. Oh, I love the Fonzie was brilliant, wasn't he? I mean, he was so lovable, and yet, for all those that loved him, there was something that they knew about him. Do you know what that was? It was the fact that he couldn't say the word sorry, and he couldn't pronounce the word wrong. And that was comedy, great comedy at the time. So when he'd made a mistake, he would sort of try to say, I was wroooooo. He'd go, I was wroooooo. He couldn't finish it off, could he? Couldn't say he was wrong. I was
I was wroooooo. Ralph, I was wroooooo. I was not exactly right.
What do you mean, not right?
I mean, not right.
I don't get you. You mean you were wrong?
He couldn't say he was sorry. Yes, that's comedy and that's funny. But what happens if, in the Jehovah's Witness religion, you've met people who can't say sorry? Because I have. Again, we're going back to the 80s, my favourite decade. Not just for music, but for things that I experienced in life in the 80s. So it'll always have a profound memory for me. Now I want to talk about when a brother brought the elders to our house. There was some altercation between me and his son. Back then, this was the chap I used to study with, the one I've told you about previously, who was a full-time pioneer, but not such a great example. You know, a hypocrite really, but fooling the congregation all the time while he was on the platform and doing everything else. But we had this falling out, and he brought his father and the elders to our house. Now, my dad, you know, he's a going chap, my father. He's dead now, God bless his soul, but back then he'd always give people the benefit of the doubt. You know, and that's what I really respected my father for. He did not judge people too lightly, although he was a good judge of character. He knew if someone had a good heart, and he knew if someone was trying to cloud the issues. So on this occasion he allowed the elder and the son and the brother to come to the house. And I'm just going to cut it shorter than perhaps I should do, simply because you've got to imagine that this is like some kind of shepherding judicial thing. So it would go on and on and on and on. But the elder that came to the house was Stefan. I know his surname, but there's no point in me mentioning his surname. And he was, at that time, taking the emblems, so he was one of the anointed. Although he's not now, because he's since stopped. So I believe, you know, he just stopped taking the emblems. I mean, how can you sort of believe you're one of the anointed for years and years and years, and then suddenly, what? Oh my God, what's going on? I wasn't one all this time. I mean, why have I been taking the emblems then? But it was that kind of situation. It shocked me when I found out that he just didn't take them anymore. Anyway, I'm digressing. I'm getting away from the main story here. So what happened was, within the process of all this conversation, to and froing between my father, me, his son, all that, what had been established was that they were incorrect to mark me, because that's what they did. They incorrectly marked me. And the elder tried to point out to him that there was no talk from the platform on the subject in which you had decided to mark Martin. That's me, Marty. And the elder had more or less proven to him that they took it upon themselves just to mark me. because they just thought all of a sudden I was a bad associate. It wasn't that I was a bad associate, it was that I was finding things out about his son. Very serious things. And people were telling me things about his son. And he was trying to shut me down. And that's why he brought the elder there. And my dad's listening to all this, and my dad didn't have a lot of time for the Jehovah's Witnesses, even though he was baptised in the late 70s. You know, he was like me away. He just thought that there was an awful lot of hypocrites that used to attend every week. So he's listening to this argument to and fro in my dad. And Stefan then points out that both Jeff and Andrew were wrong to just take it upon themselves to mark me. And we didn't get an apology, even though the elder tactfully pointed it out to them that they were wrong to do that, and they took that upon themselves to take that course of action against me. They just didn't apologise. And all I got in a way of a reply after that meeting was, "Oh, well, Jim," that's my father, "we may have been a bit overzealous." And my dad turned around and said, "Overzealous? Well, that's hardly an apology, is it? I mean, that's like Jesus Christ just saying, I was too perfect. Too perfect." So Jeff says, "Oh, I don't have to sit here and listen to this." And my dad says, "No, you don't. Go, get out, he says. "You don't have to come. I never invited you in the first place. You invited yourself, and you brought this elder with you. And now you've been proven to be wrong. You can't even offer the slightest bit of an apology in the way of showing humility." And that, my friends, is where we are with the Jehovah's Witnesses. There are so many of them that don't know how to say sorry. Many people have written songs, haven't they? Sorry seems to be the hardest word. Why is sorry the hardest word if you've been proven to be wrong? Surely if someone proves you wrong, that's the point in which you want to demonstrate humility, true humility, and not pseudo humility, is what we see sometimes with a lot of religious people. That it's just this pretense, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry," and they go away and you think, you can fool them. But Jehovah's Witnesses, you're supposed to be different. You're supposed to be different, and yet I can name many examples of brothers who are still attending to this day, who do not know how to say sorry. I have another example I'll tell you another day. But this is just the example that is in my mind for today, which I wanted to relay to you. Sorry seems to be the hardest word for you Jehovah's Witnesses. And yet, non-religious people, and even atheists, they can turn around and say, "Look, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings there," and feel bad about it. Feel bad that you've hurt someone's feelings. That's called having a conscience. So why can't the Jehovah's Witnesses turn around and readily apologise? It's because that religion tells them they are the elite. They are the ones that are going to remain standing when everybody else has fallen. And when you've got that kind of indoctrination from a young child, which we've all had, then it makes you walk around with an enlarged opinion of yourself. Extremely enlarged opinion. So much so that you don't really rate the people out there who are not in your religion. You think of them as nothing. Nothing at all. If you don't believe me, go undercover. Go and have a conversation with some Jehovah's Witnesses on the magazine carts and get them talking about the coming carnage. I've done this. I did it in Brill. And the pioneer sister there, I got her to openly admit that she will not have feelings for anybody that dies at Armageddon. And that is my whole argument, people. That they won't shed a tear. That you are the cannon fodder to them. And that even if you are clever enough to point out where they've gone wrong, they would never, never turn round to you and apologise to you. Because that is beneath them. And that is not how they've been brought up. And this, for me, is completely contrary to the way Jesus Christ conducted his life on the earth during his 3.5 years of his ministry. Because he showed examples of humility time and time again, in which I don't always see in the Jehovah's Witnesses. So you need to ask yourself, why is there that difference? Thank you.